Hi, my name is Scott Rada. I'm going to walk through how you can use Gartner as a resource to help figure out what competencies and skills are going to be important for your priority roles. On the bottom, you can see one of Gartner's sites. If you scroll down far enough, you can see what a hype cycle looks like. I copy pasted and put it above. So briefly, a hype cycle is what you think its level of expectations or hype, excitement around different technologies. This one is specifically looking at customer service and support tech. So the ones that you see on here are related to that. They have quite a few of these. And of course, for customer service and support tech, there's more than just this one that might apply to that group. So you want to pull in all of the ones that are applicable. Just to show what this kind of means, you see Internet of Things for customer services just barely under the peak right now. So these are where early adopters have picked up this technology and they're trying it out and they're really excited. They think it's going to come in very helpful to their organization. Soon after, though, they realize this isn't exactly what we thought. They maybe drop it and say, we're going to look into other technologies. And it falls into what's called the trough of disillusionment. Then you have late adopters coming in and saying, well, I can use this for X, Y, or Z. They start to adopt it. Everyone else starts to adopt it for maybe the similar reasons. And it reaches full, full adoption, you could say, or what they call the plateau of productivity on the right. So the color of the circles gives an idea of how long it'll take to reach this right-hand side for each of them. So you can see, for instance, Internet of Things for customer service is a lighter blue, which means 2 to 5 years it will take to go through the cycle, all the way down through the trough, up through the slope of enlightenment, and all the way to full productivity. The one thing this doesn't really give you, as far as when you're considering each of these technologies, is the level of impact that they will have for the organization. On the right-hand side, each hype cycle has an accompanying priority matrix, which you see here. So everything that's listed here is also on the priority matrix on the right. And of course, it gives you the level of expected impact or benefit from each one. So you've got transformational, high, moderate, and low for each one, along with the timelines that you saw on the other view. So you'll want to probably focus on the ones that are transformational or high, especially. So what I think is a good idea is to take all of these items and then put them into a spreadsheet, and then you can review them with subject matter experts from that specific talent pool area to go through them and say, is this one applicable to us? So that might look like this. So everything you saw on the last page is here. As I mentioned, you might have more than one hype cycle that is applicable to a talent pool. So you want to make sure you pull all of those in. So you might end up with over 100 of these rows to go through. So as far as going through them, you're going to want to go one by one and say, is it applicable to us? Do we currently have this technology? Are we going to probably have it in the future? Is this something we should consider? And so on. So you go through every single one of them and say, yes, maybe, no. And then on the right, you can see it's really helpful to try to get an idea of how invested you will be in that technology. So in this example, I'm just saying, put a 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that corresponds to a rough idea of how many people that might be for that specific row. So you might say chatbots, we might have 5 now, which corresponds to a 1. We might have all the way up to over 100 in just 3 or 4 years. So you'd want to show a ramp up from 1 up to 5 in a short period of time. This might look like the next slide when it's finished. So you can see there are blanks. That means that the SMEs might have said, we're not going to use that. We don't expect to use that, and so on. The ones that are populated are the ones where they say, as you see, it's already a 1, 1 here, which means you already have people in that area. Where it's a 0, you can see, for instance, on augmented reality customer support, you have none, but you're going to start ramping up in 2023 and kind of stay constant somewhere in the 26 to 50 range after a few years. So this will give you an idea of how many people you need with each of these different capabilities over time. So it'll help with talent acquisition, for instance, and of course, R&D planning. So once you finish this, you can put your side-by-side view of the original priority matrix, and then on the right-hand side, your tailored one for your specific team. So just filtering it down to the ones that are applicable. And of course, if you think that some of these are listed as moderate and they're actually transformational or high for you, you can of course move them around. What you also know as a result of having all the FTEs populated, you know how each of these ramps up over time. So I have this filtered down to ones that are transformational in impact. Of course, you can add all of them in. It gets rather messy, but when we put it back to transformational, just to show what you can do with this, I can see for each capability, there are only 3 that are listed as high or transformational benefit, that is. I can actually highlight them and see how they ramp up over time. So I mentioned chatbots. It goes from somewhere between 1 and 10 initially, and then it ramps up to 26 to 50 after just a couple of years and stays flat in that range. Some of the other ones, they ramp up much more. So conversational user interfaces goes from less than 10 or so, all the way up to over 100 in just was that 3 years. So you can not only see what things are going to be important to you, you can actually see how many people you're going to need to have in each of them over time with this method. It also would be helpful to include your baseline skills as well. So some things might ramp up more or ramp down of the current capabilities that you have. So in a fully completed version, you're going to have not only the things you get out of research from things like Gartner, you're also going to have your current capabilities as well. And it also is good to look at what your competitors are doing too in each of the talent pools to help you get an idea of all of the different skills, competencies that you should be considering for this effort. A really good tool for getting that peer and individual internal look is LinkedIn Talent Insights. So they have quite a bit of user data that you can mine. With that, I'm going to turn this off, and please send me an email if you have any questions. Thank you.